What's up, mountain goats? Welcome back in the grind. Welcome back in the season 2 and episode 2 of Transgrancanaria 2025 Classic Prep. What a lovely week this was. What a great week. Great week of full of training, great workouts, and I'm very happy with the progress. Anyway, this episode is going to be how to create a training plan, or more specifically, how I'm creating a training plan and what are the reasons behind. And then I will talk through the training I did last week. So buckle up and let's get it. First of all, I need to say that no one approach fits everybody. So it's based on the demands of the race you're training for, your experiences, your fitness, but some principles are more general and more applicable for everybody. So the first thing I like to do is to think what kind of race I want to do in new season and what kind of a race I want to do. So the big race, the big goal, the big mountain I want to climb. And if I know that race and I know the date, the deadline, then I will create the training plan only until that big A race. The reason is that I don't like to create a training plan for the whole season, for the whole year, because you don't really know what's going to happen. And with almost 100% certainty, things will change, and then you will need to change the plan anyway. So it's basically a waste of time doing that before. And also I like to see these big races as individual projects, and I want to focus purely only on the one project, and then I can think about the second and third project later in the year. I don't want to thinking about something I will do later when I'm still training and thinking about the first goal, the first project. So that's the reason. So in my case, it's Transgrancanaria 2025, so February 21st. So I know the date, I know the deadline, and then it's very easy to just count back and know exactly how many days and how many weeks you have before that big race. Ideally, you want to have at least 12 weeks before the race. Probably the sweet spot is around 16 weeks, maybe 20 weeks, maybe 24 weeks. Again, it depends on your fitness, your experiences, your level, and also the ambition you have for the race. But I'm hoping that if that race is really a race for you, then you have the highest ambitions and you want to be at your best. And that means that you should give yourself enough time to train and to improve and get better and get ready for the race. So I would say 16 weeks, it's ideal, like 4 months, so you have enough time to work on everything in your physiology and improve. But with that being said, it also doesn't mean that I have zero idea what I will do after the Transgrancanaria. I know that I want to do more races, but it's not a priority. So in this case, for me, it's 15 weeks. So the race is 21st February 2025, and I started with my training 3 weeks ago, November 11th, Monday. So now I did 3 weeks. So this is the third week I did, and have only 12 more weeks to go. So time is flying, man. Time is flying. So the first principle I like to follow is to go from the least specific to the most specific. What does it mean? It means that farther from the race, at the beginning of your prep, you're doing the least specific thing for the long ultrarunning race. And what's least specific? Well, doing VO2 max, doing these short, fast intervals on the track or on the road, on the treadmill, doesn't matter. That doesn't mean though that it's not important, it's just least specific because you will not be at that intensity in your race, but you want to improve the VO2 max and increase your speed because it's in your overall physiology, in overall fitness, it's very important. So that's the least specific. And then as you're getting closer to the race, you're doing more and more specific work. So after the VO2 max, you can do threshold work. So it's still less specific for ultra running, but slightly more than VO2 max. And then you're going to the race specific preparation, and then you have race. The second principle I like to follow is to take that big training plan, so those 16 weeks, or in my case 15 weeks, and divide it into several smaller blocks, smaller parts. So the first block for me, which I'm doing right now, is the VO2 max block. I'm doing it for 4 weeks, so I already did 3 weeks, so 1 more week for me. And in that block, the priority is almost purely just to increase the VO2 max, increase that overall ceiling of my physiology, which then is going to give me a room to grow and room to grow for my LT1 and LT2, so both thresholds. The secondary goal is to working around LT1 and doing those long aerobic base runs and sessions. And I'm not doing much or almost zero LT2 at the moment, because based on the lab test I did last week, and you could see that in the first episode, my LT2 is well developed, and I would have only the marginal gains if I would do too much work around LT2, so that's not the priority in the first block. But as I will move to the block 2 next week, I will do 1 session per week, which is going to be more like the threshold traditional work. It can be something like, I don't know, 12, 15 times, 3-4 minutes uphill at the 1 hour pace effort, so like the threshold, or I can do like 4 times 8 minutes, 4 times 10 minutes, 5 times 6 minutes, something like that. And I will still maintain 1 purely speed workout per week, which is going to be for the maintaining the VO2 max and the speed I gain in the block 1. So that's going to be the focus in block 2. And the biggest priority will be to increase the volume, or slowly increasing the volume. In block 1, I'm not really focusing on the volume that much, because the intensity is high and the recovery needs are also way higher. So you don't want to work on the intensity and also increasing the volume, because then you're increasing the chance for the injury as well. So we don't want that. So in block 2, I will slowly increase the volume as well, and I will continue working on the aerobic base and improving the LT1 and the fat max. Then we will move to block 3, which is the race specific block. I will still maintain some speed, but I will probably do only 1 session per week, and everything else is going to be more about improving the LT1, improving the fat max. And the session could be 6 hours long run at zone 2 and with some low zone 3, so work around LT1, testing the race nutrition and testing the gear ideally as well, and also ideally being on the similar terrain and doing the similar mileage and the elevation ratio. So if you know that you have a lot of elevation in your race, then you want to train it in these workouts as well. So it could be like 6 hours doing like, I don't know, 40, 50K with some 1500, 2000 meters of elevation gain, something like that. It's going to be the focus in block 3, and also the volume will be the highest in block 3. So I will have some peak weeks. Mileage could be, I don't know, anything from 130 to 160, 170 kilometers per week. We'll see though. I'm not chasing any specific number. It's more about going week by week, day by day, workout by workout, and we'll see. And then block 4 is just a taper before the race. For me, it's from 10 to 14 days. For some people, it can be 3 weeks. It's very individual, based on experiences, based on needs. I like to do 10 to 14 days. And basically, in the first week of the taper, I would decrease the overall volume by like 30-40% compared to the peak week, and we'll still maintain the intensity. And then in the race week, I will decrease the volume again by another 30% probably, and still having a bit of intensity just for that sharpening and getting ready for the race. And then it's race day, it's game time. So it's really not that complicated. It's quite simple. You have like several blocks with some specific work you're doing in those blocks, and you just want to make sure that you actually getting better, that you have that adaptation, that you absorbing the workout. So you should measure some metrics and understand what you're measuring and understand the relationship between those metrics. And then you want to also compare those workouts. That's why I also don't like to change the structure of the workouts that much, because I want to see if I'm making a progress. I want to compare workout to workout and understand the progress, or not doing the progress. And it's way easier when you have similar structure compared if you would change the workouts all the time. And that's why I also think it's very beneficial to do some kind of testing at the beginning of the prep and then retesting later to actually see those numbers, those metrics, and see the actual progress. So I will do another test in the lab later in January, and we'll see what kind of progress I did. And yeah, I would say on top of everything I said, the biggest priority, the biggest thing you want to follow is consistency. Always the consistency is the number one priority, because if you can't stay consistent, if you will miss the workouts, if you will miss 1 week, 2 weeks, that's going to negatively influence your performance, your overall performance, and your potential. Like, you will not maximize your potential if you're missing workouts, and then you need to adjust your ambition and your goal for the race as well. So you want to stay consistent no matter what, and that's why you shouldn't do any hero workouts, because you're not gaining any significant fitness in one workout in isolation. It's about stacking those bricks and just doing the work day by day, workout by workout, week by week. And sometimes you not even see any progress for several weeks, but because you don't have anything tangible. But that's okay. You need to have faith. You need to believe in process, in training, and you need to have the faith that you're getting better. And sometimes you also need to zoom out and actually see the training progress, like in 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and then you can actually understand, okay, when I started here I was at this level and now I'm here. So you're actually making that progress, but you need to zoom out, and then you can actually see that. So yeah, just be patient and stay consistent. If you should take only one thing from this, then yeah, being consistent, staying consistent, that's the number one priority.
Tuesday is first VO2 max workouts of the week, and this time I changed the structure a bit. So in the first 2 weeks and first 4 sessions I did only 8 times 2 minutes, and I felt it wasn't enough and I could do more. So this week I increased to 6 times 3 minutes at 309 minutes per kilometer per pace and 19 kilometers per hour, and with 1% incline and 2 minutes jog between. And it was very nice and spicy. I enjoyed this workout and it was enough stimuli, I would say. And at the end I did 12 minutes, first 6 minutes at 4 minutes per kilometer pace, and then for 17 the next 6 minutes. Basically just extra aerobic gains, a bit of like resistance fatigue. And then straight after I did 6 times 3 minutes at 50 breaths per minute. It was very challenging breathing like this, so like extra respiratory work, very working on the coordination of the muscles and your breathing and the power as well. Then Wednesday I did easy 45 minutes jog earlier in the day, then Spanish.
Quiero estar ahí 3 o 4 semanas antes de la carrera, porque yo necesito necesito aclimatarme, sí.
And then later in the evening I did 45 minutes on the bike, easy, and then 45 minutes incline on the treadmill, 15%, and also easy, just extra aerobic work in Wednesday. And the goal is to increase the aerobic work in these easy days. Now it's 2 hours, and later I want to increase it to 3 hours, 4 hours eventually. Thursday was second VO2 max workout of the week, and I did 8 times 2 minutes with 10% incline and 90 seconds jog between, and that was also very nice. I changed that to uphill, which is maybe less taxing for the muscles, but cardiovascularly very nice workouts. And I added some 30 seconds strides at the end, and then again 12 minutes easier as extra aerobic work. Then later in the day and evening I went to the bike, did again 45 minutes. I was testing the Rovi, which is this virtual app where you can basically cycling in and everywhere in the world, like in the real places. And this was in New Zealand, but it's okay, but I really don't need something like this, so I tested it if I want to do it more, but decided that not really. Friday is a no running day, but same as Wednesday, it's about easy aerobic work plus strength training. So I did 45 minutes on an elliptical, easy effort, and then I did a strength training focusing. So one session per week is focused more on the ankles, hips, core, some isometric. So in this first exercise I'm doing isometric on the leg extension, holding it for 30 seconds, and then doing some lunges and increasing that range of motion and the strength in that range of motion for ankles. And then I did a bit of upper body, but not really doing too much because I don't need to gain muscles, but still you want to do some strength for upper body because it is important as well. And then doing some depth jumps, so a bit of plyometrics, then some hip extension. I really like this exercise. It's pretty hard because you don't want to push with that other leg, only with the leg on the box, and you will feel it in your quads and in your glutes for sure, and hips. Then another exercise for hips, more dynamic, really like this one. So going from that extension to the flexion. Then doing some Nordics on glute ham raise machine, but really just like the 1/3 of the move and holding that position. It was really good for the hamstrings, could feel it really well. And then did some classic glute ham raises and some core work to finish the workout in the gym. And then later in the evening I did 1 hour 15 minutes on a bike, and the main part was 8 times 2 minutes, 240 watts, and the cadence was, the RPM was from 50 to 60, so the low cadence, really like the muscular strength work, and was watching Starting 5. I really like these basketball stories and documentaries. Even though I never hooped, I really enjoy this, and it's better than the virtual reality. I don't need that. I want to watch real stuff, sports, documentaries, and stuff like that. Saturday is a long trail run, so I went on my favorite trails and did 20 kilometers with 600 meters of elevation gain. Happy Saturday! Running on my most favorite trails, and I wasn't here for almost 7 months. Just a nice zone to 21 kilometers, lovely weather, sunny, around 5 degrees, could be more, but it feels good. And the legs after no running day yesterday feel absolutely great. I think doing cross training and the end of the first block of the week, meaning Friday, is very beneficial, at least for me, and then I can push in the second block, second half, which is in the weekend. So let's finish the run. In the last 10 minutes I went harder, so the whole workout was like zone 2, so like easy running, but the last 10 minutes it was zone 3, and then in the last minute or two zone 4, so pushing it a bit again, like the extra resistance fatigue work, and it feels nice to push it. And especially the last kilometer is going through the steep uphill, so that also simulate a bit of a finish in any ultra running race you will do, that you want to push it and finish strong. And then went to the gym again. So the Saturday session is always after the run, and I call it like demolition session or like the durability Saturday. The goal is to really do hard work on lower body. So first 2 exercises more dynamic, some RDLs but like faster with lighter weight. Before this I did also overcoming isometrics for a couple of sets as a nice warm-up, and then I did the same thing I did last week, so some power complex on single leg, some jumps. And I really enjoyed this exercise where you improving that eccentric strength in your quads, glutes, calves, and I could feel it for days after. Really good exercise, and it's going to be beneficial for those downhills, for those steep downhills in Transgrancanaria. So I will maintain this exercise in my mix for sure. And then in evening I did extra 45 minutes, 15% incline again as a nice final touch in Saturday. And then Sunday it's all about LT1 work, so I did it on treadmill 2 times 30 minutes with 10% incline and running 5:30 pace, and then some strides before and after, and watching the beautiful documentary Moving Still from Eric Floberg and the team. I really suggest and recommend to watch it. It's beautiful, and it's not really just about running, but it's about more than that, and it has a nice message. And finishing the Sunday, classic Sunday, watching Formula 1. Unfortunately, only one more race to go, and then we need to wait for almost 3 months. I really like watching Formula 1 on these Sundays. My favorite activity on Sunday. Alright, so week number 3 is done and dusted, and I did 91 kilometers, 9 hours and almost 4,000 meters of elevation gain, plus some cross training and strength training. You can see the numbers over here. And as I said, the volume is not the priority in this first block, so doing only like 80-90k as that's enough. And then in block 2 and block 3 I will increase the volume and will do more for sure. And Next week I will do the last week of block 1, so the last week of VO2 max workouts. And also I will start with the heat training, so I will talk about that in the next episode. That's also super important when you do the race somewhere where it's warmer. And like Transgrancanaria, it's probably going to be only like 20 degrees, but because I train here in Bratislava and it's winter, here it's going to be like 0 degrees or even minus. So it's still a big difference, and the heat training is important. And it's not just about the acclimatization, it's also about like increasing the hemoglobin and blood plasma and blah blah blah. I will talk about that in the next episode. So that will be it for episode 2 of Transgrancanaria 2025 prep. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.